Hey you guys, so today's video is going to be a chit chat. Get ready with me. I created this look right here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about boys, men, and women who hate makeup and maybe some reasons why they hate makeup. This is something that has affected me in some personal ways. I get into some stories about that, and maybe you guys have experienced some of the same things that I have. I'd love to hear your stories about this kind of stuff down below because I think it's an interesting kind of phenomenon, if you will, especially in the time of social media. Like, everybody's got an opinion about how everybody looks. It's kind of crazy. Before we get started, make sure you guys are subscribed if you are not, and make sure you hit the notification bell or you may never see me again. Also, check the down bar for links to all my social media platforms, and let's just get into it. Well, I wanted to talk with you guys today about a phenomenon that I don't feel like we hear a lot about as much. At least not on social media, or maybe I'm just like completely immune to it at this juncture that I don't even notice it, but it is something that I've experienced in my real life. It's something I get questions about a lot, and it's something I feel like is indicative of a bigger issue as a whole. So let's talk about boys who don't like makeup. I don't know about you guys, but I have experienced real life makeup shame. People having a preference of a more natural kind of aesthetic, either for themselves or even maybe what they prefer to see on another person, does not bother me. I really couldn't care less, because it's just impossible to think we're ever gonna live in a world where everyone is attracted to and likes the same thing, and the world is better for the fact that we all are a little different in the things that we enjoy, and that also include how we like to present ourselves to the world. So if you're watching this and you think that I'm gonna get up here and be like, you have to like makeup, because if you don't, you suck. Like, that's not how I feel. So I feel like there's three different types of people you run into in this kind of a scenario. I feel like the first way it manifests itself is you have people who just aren't into it, you know? They see a girl with a lot of makeup, a lot of hair, a lot of things going on, and it's just not their thing. They're not drawn to it. It doesn't do anything for them. And then they see a girl with no makeup, jeans and t-shirt, and that's their thing. Totally fine, obviously. The very first time I saw one of those take her swimming on the first date memes, the only thing I could think was how funny it was that some dude out there pulled out his phone, opened some kind of app, wrote out the joke, searched online for a photo to corroborate his opinion on this, and shared it proudly all over the internet. And I've seen a million of these types of memes. There's not just one, there's tons of them. First of all, who asked you? It also struck me as odd because, like, guys, for the most part, no matter what they try to portray online or around their homies or whatever, are for the most part, this isn't all of them, are like really afraid of being rejected by women. It's like, it's a thing. There are tons of examples and tons of situations where a woman rejecting a man has resulted in a violent act against her. And on top of that, if you get a date with a girl in the first place, like, lucky you anyway. Like, this whole idea that there's some dudes out there that are like, oh, well, if she's gonna pass my test, here's what needs to happen. I feel like it paints this picture that men are the spectators, we are to be observed, and if we want to be chosen by one, we need to do A, B, C, and D. And I actually ran into a situation exactly like this many years ago before this meme existed, where I did go swimming on a date with a guy and he broke up with me after. This guy already was not my type, so it like really bruised my ego in a very, very intense way. I think I was just bored in my life, and I was just trying to like create a relationship to give me something to do, on top of the fact that because he was so physically far removed from my type, I believed that, like, oh, well, he'll just be like so excited to even have a chance with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way he's gonna hurt me or screw me over or whatever. So me and this guy meet, we go on a few dates. I would say maybe it's like date 4 or 5. Like, it hadn't been very long. We're having like a party at his house, and he had a pool in the backyard. It's like 2 in the morning, everyone's been drinking, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm standing beside this pool, and my girlfriend pushed me in. Fully clothed, like, I was so irritated. Everyone just jumps in and goes swimming. I was wearing hair extensions that night, clip-ins, but they were extensions. Because I didn't want them to get totally ruined from like the chlorine, I got out of the pool and I took my extensions out and I threw them on the side of the pool and I got back in. Next day, you know, I was in the pool, so my makeup came off, my hair was out, everything. Listen to me and listen to me very well. I know that I look different now than I look when I have all glam on. I'm aware. I'm not stupid. I don't think I look bad. I don't think there's anything wrong with the way that I look when I don't have any makeup on. I look like that most of the time. Anyway, he had never seen me without makeup on like that before. I mean, I'm constructing a lot of this in my mind based on what he told me later. So I'm imagining a scenario at this juncture where he woke up the next day and I didn't look the way he had ever seen me look before. I wasn't insecure about it or worried about it. Like, I didn't think it was a big deal. I go home and the next night he had another party. A bigger party. It was like a lot of people were there. It wasn't like just hanging out, you know, after party from the bar. Anyway, so go to the party, everything's fine. And then I would say we had been at that party for like hours. I mean, it was probably 4 or 5 hours later. I'm standing next to my friends and he comes up to me and he goes, in the middle of the party, like it was like a big spectacle. He didn't command everyone's attention, but let me tell you, it gives me like goosebumps when I think about it. He comes up to me and he goes, yeah, so this whole thing, and he like points at me and him and he's like, I think we need to take a break. I think we need to stop. And I was like, what? My ego was extremely bruised. First of all, like that's really what it was. So I left. And then the next day, you know, I was like, well, maybe he was just like drunk or I did something and it like made him, I don't know. Let me tell y'all something. This kid would not talk to me. Pretty much ghosted me, like would not answer any questions. This went on for weeks of this kid not telling me why he did this. Cut to literally like half a month later, I'm getting ready to go to work. I was a bartender at the time. He texts me out of the blue and he's like, and it's funny because he did this because he wanted to go to the bar that I worked at that night, but he didn't want me to be like, no. He texts me and he's like, hey, so like basically I just wanted to let you know like why I decided to call this whole thing off. So like basically that night we went swimming and like you took your hair extensions out, like that really freaked me out, and like I just really like natural girls. I laughed so hard, like audibly laughed when I read that, because that was the last thing that would have ever crossed my mind as a possibility of why this would be going on. Now, once again, totally allowed to have your preferences. I will say it's a little hilarious to me, astronaut, that this kid looked at me and thought, there's a natural girl. Like Stevie Wonder can tell I am not a natural girl, and that's just my preference and I make no apologies for it. I don't give a shit. Like this is just who I have always been. Anyone who knows me will tell you. So I walked away from that situation kind of feeling simultaneously like very amused, because like I said, it's not wrong, like I said, that he felt that way. It's just funny that he looked at me and thought I was that way. For all I know, that was just some bullcrap answer he gave to like just say something. That's just all I know as to why that happened. It wasn't like some big like drawn out romantic like thing. We'd only been dating for a very short amount of time. So yeah, like those types of dudes are out there. And at the end of the day, I really appreciate that he just came right out and told me that's just, you know, I wasn't his type. That's fine. I already said he wasn't mine, so that doesn't make me, like, I wasn't walking in my truth at that moment. At least he was. You know what I'm saying? The number one thing I learned from that actually benefited me so much in the long run is that, like, that is not the type of guy I could date. Like, just as much as I might not be the type of girl he could date, I could never date a guy who had a problem with that. But the next guy I dated was my husband, and we've been together for 7 years, and he loves me when I have full glam on, or when I'm like wearing the same pajamas for 3 days and have spaghetti sauce on my shirt and I haven't taken a shower since yesterday. Like, I mean, I just got lucky, very, very lucky, and my husband's amazing and I love him. He's the best person I've ever met. I say it all the time. There is another type of guy out there, another type of person you have to watch out for that has like problems with makeup, that take it further than doing things like posting memes about it, or they'll take it even further than dumping you over it. I'm not bitter at all. I'm really not, I swear. It worked out better for everybody. Yeah, there is a different type of guy that I dated that had a different relationship towards his dislike for makeup. And these type of people, like I just said, it's like a scale. You have like people who just don't prefer it. You have people who are vocal about the fact that they don't prefer it. Then you have people that will like just like break up with you over it, or like decide they don't want to be in your life over it. And then there's this type of person. Before I get into that, I need to cut my crease really quick. So I'll be right back to continue on with this story. So hold that thought. Anyway, as I was saying, So the other type of person I feel like that's out there that has a problem with makeup is a little bit more of a, I don't want to say abusive because I really don't like to throw that word around, but it can definitely turn into something abusive. I think it's different than everything else I just mentioned because I think it stems from something different. The way this particular like negative opinion towards makeup is expressed is in a way that I think is meant to control people. There are guys out there who are intimidated and threatened by a woman's appearance in a way that because they're threatened by it, they feel the need to kind of stifle it or snuff it out in you. So I was with a guy before that did this to me, and there was tons of red flags in the beginning that I should have seen that would have made this very clear to me that this was going to be an issue in our relationship, but I think there were so many other factors at play that I don't know, I just didn't see it for what it was, and so I'm telling you this so maybe you can recognize this in people. And let me tell you, not that I feel the need to justify myself in any shape, way, or form, but my reasons for being this way have nothing to do with anybody else. Like when I was younger, I used to just do my hair and makeup just to sit in my bedroom because I enjoy the process of doing it. It's like, it's one of the funnest parts of being a girl is getting to play with all this stuff. So when I started dating this guy, I'll never forget, one of our first dates, he picked me up, hop in the car with him, and he looks over at me and he goes, "Why are you so dressed up?" I would tell you if I was being extra because I have no shame in my game. I was literally wearing like a pair of jeans and like a cute shirt. It wasn't like a t-shirt, but it was like a little like blousey tank top thing. I had my hair curled and had some makeup on. I was going on a date. To him, that was really dressed up, okay? It just kind of started like that, where anytime we went somewhere, he would take an issue with what I was wearing. Like it got to a point at one time where I was walking through Walmart on the phone with him. Happened to be wearing heels at Walmart. I didn't go to Walmart to wear heels. I was going somewhere else and I had to stop at Walmart on the way and I happened to have them on. So on the phone with him and I'm walking and he goes, "Are you wearing heels?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why are you trying to get attention?" And I was like, "I'm literally running into Walmart to get this thing and then I have to go to blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to get attention. Like, what are you talking about?" Well, there have been studies done that show that men can hear the sound of a woman's high heels from hundreds of feet away and subconsciously causes them to like run to the source of the sound and find the girl. Maybe there have been studies that suggest that. I've never seen the literature on that before. Like it started a full-blown fight where basically he was accusing me of trying to, like that's what it always was about. I was always trying to get other people's attention. He was very threatened by the way that I presented myself to the world. I mean, one time we were walking through the mall and like I had like a cute outfit on and my hair done and makeup done because I wanted to that day. And he turns and he starts yelling in this direction, "Stop looking at my girlfriend." Like he yelled at some dude in the middle of the mall because he looked at me for too long. Another time we were at a restaurant and we get our table and like as soon as we sit down, the waitress brought me over a glass of wine and I was like, "I didn't order this," because I didn't. And she's like, "Oh, somebody at the bar wanted you to have it." Like somebody sent me over a drink. He spent the entire dinner just like trying to stare down and figure out who sent it over. And I'm not gonna lie, at that point in my life, I genuinely, and I think a lot of girls think this too, I'm not the only one, believe that a guy who does that, who acts really jealous and possessive, it's like a sign of love. Like they're afraid of losing you, so they get jealous. But let me tell you, that's not actually what's going on. Like the way that you feel the need to express your distaste for a certain type of female aesthetic is one thing. I mean, I guess we're all entitled to our opinions or whatever. But I think once you get to a point where you're projecting your insecurities on other people in an attempt to like keep them down because you don't like yourself or whatever the case may be, that's really problematic. And what I didn't know at the time was that this was something that was going to change myself and the way I saw myself for a little while, because I didn't stay in this relationship for super long. And obviously it didn't have super lasting effects on me because look at me now. But I did go through a phase where like it just was easier to shrink myself for him. Like I stopped wearing makeup almost altogether. I stopped curling my hair because he didn't like it. I stopped wearing heels because he didn't like it, and science said that it meant I was seeking male attention, all those kinds of things. And after I got out of that relationship, people who knew me during that relationship and after all were just kind of like, what happened to you? Like, you're such a different person now. And I was always like, I'm not different now. I was different then. Like I said, if this person or any other person in my life just didn't prefer, you know, that type of look, wasn't attracted to it, want to date someone like the guy I told you about in the beginning. He didn't like it and he told me and I got out of that situation. Didn't like stay in that relationship with me and then lead me down a path of believing that I was the problem because me being the way that I was meant that I was potentially unfaithful, or I wanted attention for other people, or I didn't care about him, or I didn't care about our relationship, or I was a bad person. Like, he just was like, okay, well, thank you, next. Like, he just kind of moved on, and so did I, and it worked out. The other person I'm talking about, it was like a bait and switch thing. It was kind of like small little comments in the beginning that definitely should have been a red flag for me. And then once like I was in this relationship, committed relationship with him, he would like try to manipulate me and basically try to, you know, get me to be subservient to his insecurity. Like, don't get me wrong, we all have insecurities and we all have, you know, the things that make us feel less stable in a relationship, but that's not the other person's job to fix for you. Like, you have to work on that yourself. Let me just say that I know I'm giving these two examples, but this is not like what my relationships were typically always like before my husband. But I didn't have a lot of them, and those are just two examples that really kind of personify the essence of what I'm trying to talk to you guys about today. I dated a couple of guys who didn't care either way. They were totally fine with it, didn't bother them one bit. From there, I just learned like, okay, well, that's not for me. Like, that doesn't work for me. I have to be able to be who I am every day. I can't feel afraid of that. No one should ever have to feel that way. Unfortunately, the scenario I described about the kind of controlling relationship I had is extremely common. I mean, that's really something I saw a lot more of when I was in high school and like middle school, but I've definitely met grown men who are like that as well. As I said in the beginning of the video, and this is why I felt the need to kind of paint the distinction, I guess, between a preference and something that could turn into something a little bit more sinister. The difference is you're not putting the burden on another person to fit your perception of what is acceptable behavior. Women do this too. That's the crazy thing about it. Like, I've seen tons of examples in my personal life where, and I've been like, this has either been said to me or about me and it's gotten back to me. But I've heard of women talking about me in like real life, not on the internet, probably said on the internet too, but I don't really care, where they're just like, oh, well, she wouldn't be shit without all that makeup. And here's the thing, let me be very clear about something. I've done makeup on like, I don't even know, hundreds of people. Makeup cannot create something. It's not magic. Like, all it does is improve upon what you've already got going on. It's like, listen, I'm cute with makeup and I'm cute without it. I feel like that's an irrefutable fact. Just like you're cute with it and you're cute without it. It doesn't define you. It doesn't make you a good person, a bad person, a better person than someone else. It's just friggin' makeup. Because shoe on the other foot. If I got on social media, or if I said to other people or commented on other people's pictures, or, you know, made a big stink about the fact that I feel like people who don't wear makeup or who don't do their hair or who don't get plastic surgery or whatever the case may be are wrong or are unattractive or ain't shit, like, that would be considered a bullying mentality. Now, I understand that this absolutely does go two ways. There definitely are people who love to make people who are maybe overweight or who are not conventionally attractive or who maybe don't have a lot of money. Like, there are definitely people who like to make others feel bad on the other side of the fence. I'm not saying like, poor us, we're just want to be pretty and people are so mean. Like, I'm not saying that. I think in both camps, like on both sides of it. It's unnecessary and stupid. I'm gonna keep it real. I do not call me self-centered, call me self-involved, whatever. I don't care what anybody else is doing. It's literally not even a blip on my radar. I mean, if you guys have any idea how many DMs I've gotten over the years, or people being like, you know, I really want to wear makeup, I really want to, you know, start experimenting with it more, but I'm worried about what other people are gonna say. Or I really want to start wearing makeup, but my friends will make fun of me, or my boyfriend won't like it. It's sad. Like, how much approval as women are we required to seek from the world after a while? I have told every single girl that has ever written me and asked me about this to get new friends, get a new boyfriend. Like, either you have to become so infallibly sure of yourself and what you want to do, which I recommend 100% of the time anyway, or you have to like consciously surround yourself solely with people that support you no matter what. Or you, in a perfect world, would do both. Should do both, actually. Don't get it twisted. That's what you should always aspire to, is to be unapologetically yourself in a group of people who don't need you to say you're sorry. And life is just entirely too short to live it trying to appease other people. And let me tell you something else. If there are people in your life who feel rightful in telling you how to like present yourself to the world, or if they will try to control that, they will do that about other things, because those are people who don't have boundaries. Ultimately, you just operate differently as a human being when you don't feel good about yourself or when you're not sure of yourself. And there are people who want you to stay in that exact situation. Because I can tell you, with little to no exception, if anyone in your life comes at you and tries to change the way that you are, or has fault with the way that you are as a person, and I don't mean like if you're being a jerk to your friends and family that you have no fault in this. I'm saying like things that do not affect them in any way. They have an issue with it and are trying to get you to change. It's because they have that problem within themselves. Like, they don't know how to handle that within themselves. So they are trying to change what's out here when what's in here is what needs to change. Pay attention to the people in your life and how they project their bullshit on you, basically. I would give anything to be able to go back in time and tell myself when I was younger, you just don't have any obligation in this life to make anyone happy but yourself. Some people will just never be happy. Some people will just never like you because it's got nothing to do with you, you know? It truly does make me sad for like everyone involved in that kind of a situation, because it makes me sad for people that are on the receiving end of it, because like they're just out here trying to live their lives and do their thing, and there's people who are trying to make them feel bad about it. And then I feel bad for the people that do the shaming or whatever, because it's just so indicative of like bigger struggle that they're having, and they don't know what to do with it except to bleh, like, here, you take this, I don't want it, you have it, I don't want to deal with it, you deal with it. It's very much that. Alright guys, this is the end of this chit chat. Get ready with me. I hope that you enjoyed the video. It is just makeup, so please, please do not get your panties in a twist. If you do disagree with me, that's totally fine. But fair warning, if you go on a rant down below and call me every name in the book, I'm just gonna delete and block you. So anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.